The Adidas Adizero Adios Pro 4 is Adidas' newest carbon-plated race day shoe, and I've been really excited about this shoe, primarily because the Adios Pro 3 quickly became one of my favorite race day shoes, and for good reason. So the only question I have is, can the Adios Pro 4 improve upon what was already a great race day shoe? But before I get into the initial review of the Adios Pro 4, I do want to give a quick disclaimer. This shoe was sent to me by Adidas for the purpose of review, but the opinions in this video are mine and mine alone. And another quick note I want to make about this review, I am 5 foot 10 inches tall and I weigh anywhere from 165 to 170 pounds on any given day. All right, and with that out of the way, let's get into the review of the Adios Pro 4. So like I already said at the beginning of this video, the Adios Pro 4 is Adidas' newest carbon-plated race day shoe. In this video, I want to go over the tech specs of the Adios Pro 4, as well as what is new with the Adios Pro 4 over its predecessor, the Adios Pro 3. And then lastly, I'll go over who I believe the Adios Pro 4 is for, and if I would recommend the shoe for your race day. All right, so first we'll go over the tech specs of the Adizero Adios Pro 4. We'll start with the upper. The upper has a new woven mesh material throughout the entire upper. You have a standard lacing system running through the lacing system of the shoe. And then you have what Adidas is calling the light lock band system. Basically what that is a band that is running through the eyelets of the lacing system. And it's a band that runs through the ankle to the heel, and then through the ankle back to the eyelets on the other side, or the medial side of the lacing system. And this is there to help provide some structure and support while also relieving some pressure on that lacing system as you tighten up your laces for a race day fit. And then next you have what is basically a gusseted tongue, except it's not your traditional gusset where you would have like a band running on the lateral and or medial side of the shoe. Instead, you have stitching that runs along the light lock band on the Adios Pro 4, giving you a nice lockdown with the tongue. You don't have to worry about the tongue slipping around or trying to get a good tight fit with the laces while also trying to keep the tongue in place. All right, next for the tech specs, let's go over the midsole of the Adios Pro 4. In the midsole of the Adios Pro 4, you have the Light Strike Pro foam, which you've seen in previous Adios Pro versions. With this Adios Pro 4, you have two slabs of the Light Strike Pro. So you have an upper and a lower, and that's separated by the Energy Rods 2.0, which are the carbon rods that run the full length of the shoe. The stack height for the Adios Pro 4 is 39 millimeters in the heel and 33 millimeters in the forefoot, giving you a 6 millimeter heel to toe offset. And then lastly, for the tech specs of the midsole of the Adios Pro 4, there is a new rocker geometry for the Adios Pro 4. And now lastly, with the tech specs of the Adios Pro 4, we'll go over the outsole of the shoe. Now with the outsole of the Adios Pro 4, we see a new rubber compound on the bottom of the shoe. Adidas is calling this their light traction rubber compound. It's a lightweight, thin rubber compound that has good traction and covers a majority of the bottom of the shoe, but you still have some continental rubber in this foot pad up here, basically a toe-off pad that helps provide a little extra traction and durability in one of the places of the shoe that is going to get the most wear and tear in the toe off. I got the Adios Pro 4 in my typical US men's 10.5 standard, and the shoe fits true to size. And the Adios Pro 4 also weighs in at 216 grams, which is 23 grams lighter than the Adios Pro 3 in that same shoe size. And then lastly, the Adios Pro 4 will run you $250 US and is available on Adidas's website. All right, and so with all of the tech specs out of the way with the Adios Pro 4, let's dive into what's actually new with the Adizero Adios Pro 4. And unfortunately, I feel like I'm going to be repeating myself a lot throughout this entire video because there's been a complete overhaul with this shoe. So I'm basically going to have to cover every single component again, from the upper, the midsole to the outsole. So we'll start with what's new on the upper of the Adios Pro 4. So like I already said in the tech specs, the Adios Pro 4 has a woven mesh upper. And let me just start by saying this upper feels phenomenal. At first touch, I already thought this may be one of the best race day shoe uppers I've ever felt. And then when I actually put the shoe on, I was amazed at how great the upper felt. It was extremely comfortable. It's extremely breathable. The upper basically disappears once I put it on my foot, which is great. It's exactly what I'm looking for in a race day shoe or just kind of a running shoe in general. And honestly, this update is a huge, huge improvement over the Adios Pro 3. Also looking at what's new within the Adios Pro 4 upper. Like I said, you have your standard lacing system, but now within the tongue, you have this pad that helps relieve some pressure off the top of your foot as you cinch down the laces to get that race day fit, which is also a much welcomed improvement over the Adios Pro 3. It honestly makes lacing up the Adios Pro 4 so much better than with the Adios Pro 3. I always found that I had to kind of mess around with the Adios Pro 3 to find the right fit. And I'd usually have to lace up like once or twice throughout my run to get somewhat of a good fit. With the Adios Pro 4, that's completely gone. I no longer have that concern. I tie it once, it's good, and I'm gone. And I also think I have to contribute that to another new component within the upper, which is this light lock band. So like I said, the light lock band runs through the eyelets of the lacing system, and then it runs through the actual rest of the shoe, so through that ankle into the collar, and it just helps create some stability while also, again, relieving some of that pressure from the lacing system so that as you lace up your shoes, you're not having all that pressure just kind of centralized on the lacing system. That light lock band kind of helps distribute some of that throughout the shoe. And it also helps make sure that you get a good cinch through that ankle and heel so that you have no heel slippage with the shoe. And then the last update for the Adios Pro 4 upper is you now have a full pad through the ankle and the heel of the shoe, which is again another welcomed improvement to the Adios Pro 4. The Adios Pro 3 just had those two pads on the back of the shoe. So this is a very welcomed improvement in adding comfort, especially when you get into those late miles for your runs. All right, so now let's get into what is new with the midsole of the Adios Pro 4. So like I already said, the Adios Pro 4 has that Light Strike Pro foam compound that we've seen in previous Adios Pro models, like the Adios Pro 3. But one of the major differences with this Light Strike Pro foam is that it is a lot softer than the previous models of the Adios Pro. Honestly, as soon as I pulled this out of the box and gave it like that typical squeeze to just kind of see the durometer of the shoe, I could immediately tell that this Adios Pro foam was a lot softer than previous models like the Adios Pro 3. And then once I did the actual step in and ran in the shoe, it was immediately noticeable how much softer and more comfortable the Light Strike Pro foam was over previous models. There doesn't really feel like there needs to be a break-in period like on previous models of the Adios Pro. And honestly, this shoe feels amazing. And what's even crazier about the Light Strike Pro foam being softer is that the Light Strike Pro didn't lose any of that pop or efficiency or energy through the foot strike and on the toe off or just in the stride in general that you think would happen with a softening of a foam compound. Typically, when you soften a foam compound, there is somewhat of a trade-off with the shoe, and usually you lose some of that energy that you would get with a firmer foam compound. But honestly, this shoe feels just as energetic, if not more, than the Adios Pro 3, and it feels absolutely amazing underfoot. And I can't only contribute that to the Light Strike Pro foam, I also believe it is in part to the new rocker geometry of the Adios Pro 4. So if you actually look at the Adios Pro 4 between the Adios Pro 3 and the rocker geometries, it's slight, but you can see it. The Adios Pro 3 has less of an aggressive toe off or rocker geometry in the front of the midsole, so in that forefoot of the midsole, compared to the front rocker geometry or forefoot rocker geometry of the Adios Pro 4. And then if you actually look at where the rocker geometry starts with the Adios Pro 4, it does actually start a little further back on the forefoot, so closer to where the pad of your foot is. Whereas on the Adios Pro 3, like I said, it's kind of a gradual rocker, and the rocker starts closer almost to like the forefront of your pad or where your toes kind of start. And so honestly, I have to attribute the overall package of the midsole and why it feels more energetic and more efficient than the Adios Pro 3 to the fact that Adidas changed the rocker geometry, brought the rocker geometry start point a little farther back on the foot, and then you have more of an aggressive geometry or rocker in that forefoot of the shoe. And like I've already said, this midsole is a huge improvement over the Adios Pro 3. I've been absolutely enjoying every single run that I've done in this shoe. I love that there's basically no break-in period. I honestly probably could have taken this shoe straight out of the box and went and ran a marathon and been good. That's how great the midsole is straight out of the box. And like I said, it's definitely got that soft comfort, but great energy return to last you for all the miles you need to get through in a half marathon to marathon distance. And then the last part of what's new for the Adios Pro 4 is the outsole. So like I already said in the tech specs, you have a new outsole rubber compound. Adidas is calling this their light traction rubber compound. It's lightweight, it's extremely thin, but it is insanely grippy, to the point that actually when I took this shoe out and put it on for the first time and was walking around the house, the shoes were squeaking every single time I took a step, to the point I was trying to actually step lightly so that I wasn't annoying my wife, because the squeaks were so loud, because the rubber on this outsole just adheres to the ground so well. And then putting that into practice on all the runs I've done so far with the shoe, the light traction rubber compound is absolutely amazing. It's got phenomenal grip. And honestly, it's one of those that I would be comfortable taking this in pretty much any weather condition and racing with the shoe, not just running with the shoe, but actually putting faster race-like paces on the shoe in almost any weather condition, because the light traction rubber compound is that good. And then the other thing is you do still have Continental rubber on the Adios Pro 4. It just looks different than the older versions of the Adios Pro, like the Adios Pro 3. Now you just have this little slab of Continental rubber running through the forefoot, basically the toe off area of the shoe. And again, this just provides some extra traction as well as durability for the shoe. No matter where you land in your foot strike, whether you're a heel striker, midfoot, or forefoot striker, you're always gonna end your foot strike going off the toe. And so having that extra piece of Continental rubber right there in the toe off just provides that extra durability, so you can put a lot of miles on the Adios Pro 4. So lastly, who do I believe the Adios Pro 4 is for? So I know everyone is unique, and what works for me may not work for you, but honestly, the Adios Pro 4 is one of those shoes that I believe can pretty much work for everyone. Anyone looking to run a half marathon all the way up to the marathon. And honestly, I would even race this in shorter distances. I'm already considering taking it out on some of the 5Ks I plan on running in the early part of the year. And I definitely will be running this for the Marine Corps Marathon later in the year. But this is one of those shoes that honestly, you could take, like I said, from the half marathon to the marathon. If you're someone looking for comfort and good, quick turnover where it feels effortless with each foot strike, the Adios Pro 4 is the shoe for you. Which obviously leads into the last question: would I recommend this shoe for a race day? And if you haven't guessed by now, it's a resounding yes. And like I already said, the Adios Pro 3 was one of my favorite race day shoes. And honestly, the Adios Pro 4 is leaps and bounds better than that shoe. So yes, I would definitely recommend the shoe for your race day.